Hi, today we're going to talk about how to burn fat. I know it's difficult because you think you've tried everything, but you still just don't know how to burn fat fast or effectively. I hear you because there's a lot of variables that go into actually burning fat. There's a lot of things like hormones, diet, sleep, exercise. Are you eating too much? Are you eating too little? What is going on? And so it's really hard to pin it down. And so today I'm going to try to help you sort of sort this out and show you how you can actually turn your body into a fat burning machine, okay? And why fat can be so stubborn, all right? So, I'm Jen, I'm a pharmacist, and this is RXTV, where we talk about everything in your health from A to Z. We talk about prescription drugs, OTC medications, diet, fitness, and my favorite, my absolute favorite, is like spices and herbs, okay? Because it's nature's medicine. All right, so back to the topic. So, we want to know how to lose weight. And maybe you've tried to lose everything but you all the weight but you still don't understand why you have belly fat or you have the stubborn arm fat or you have stubborn thigh fat and it's just not coming off, or maybe you had actually been trying in the past to lose the weight and then it came right back, or you hit a plateau, something that was working stopped working. I know it can be completely frustrating, but really what you have to do in order to continually lose weight or lose the fat is you have to know how the body works. So there is sort of an algorithm that your body uses as to where it's going to pull its sources for energy first, and it is sort of an order of operation, as we would call it, in the medical field. So the first order from where your body pulls its sources of energy would be from glucose. Now, glucose, as we know, comes from carbohydrates pretty easily. It's broken down pretty fast into glucose, and it's then stored in your liver and your muscles as glycogen. And I have water written out here beside the word glycogen because later we'll talk about how sometimes when you use up all your glycogen stores, you will also look like you lost a lot of water weight because each molecule of glycogen actually holds on to 3 molecules of water. But we'll get back to that. So basically, glucose is the universal currency in your body. It can be used everywhere. It could be used in the brain, the skeletal muscle. It could be used in your liver. It's used for a lot of quick reactions. Okay, and it's the primary source of making ATP. All right. So next we are talking about really the holy grail of where we want to be, which is in the fat burning stage, where we're burning fats as lipids and fatty acids. Okay, so when does the body pull the energy from the fat stores? Okay, does it do it just directly after the glucose, or does it do it after it pulls proteins? Now, proteins and amino acids, this is where you don't really want to burn too much of your this, well, actually this is not where you want to be when you're trying to lose weight, because you don't want to use proteins and amino acids all the time, because then you get into this situation where you're actually wasting away your muscle fibers, and so then you're turned into that phase where they say you're skinny fat, where you basically have your weight is down, but you have no muscle mass, your metabolism is slow, and nothing's really going on for you. So we don't want to be in that stage. We want to be in this fat burning stage. And also, there's some people who want to be in a ketone stage, which is ketones come from fatty acids, and they do that in a starvation phase. So this is really the crux of what I want to talk about, is the starvation phase, okay? Because a lot of people think, okay, the best way to lose weight is to starve, 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 or to cut down calories severely enough to where you create a caloric deficit. Now, in theory, creating a caloric deficit is actually one of the best ways to lose weight, because what you take in as to the energy output that you have, there is an equation. It works all day long. So you think, okay, the less calories that I take in, the more weight I'm going to lose. But there's a little catch to that, because not all starvation is the same, okay? Um, you can go actually on a diet to where you start after 30 hours basically of fasting, you will start to make ketone bodies. And then some people say, well, it's not really starving yourself to make ketone bodies, but you're eating the kind of foods that don't contain glucose, and then your body switches over to using ketones. Now, there is some, truth to that, and it is a good way to try and confuse your body to losing some weight for a certain period of time. But it doesn't always last, forever, because sometimes it's even better to go back in and reintroduce carbohydrates and glucose as like a carb refeed to get your body, tricked into working a different way again, and also increasing your metabolism. Because the problem here is that in some starvation states, and this is the starvation state that I'm talking about, where you're starving yourself of nutrients. You're not necessarily not eating, but what you are eating or how you're trying to eat is starving you from the certain nutrients that you need to stay in the fat burning zone. Okay, because when we are low on these nutrients, and that's why I have nutrients over here on this side, nutrients that like niacin, for instance, because niacin is directly involved with ATP production. Now, if you don't know what ATP is, but it's what your body makes for you to have energy, okay? And it requires a lot of enzymes and cofactors. You can imagine it as this ATP production is like a factory, and in the factory you have workers, and each worker is handing off one thing to the other and handing off one thing to the other. But if someone doesn't show up for work that day, something doesn't get handed off. And if that's the case, what's going to happen is your body's going to say, well, I need this person to be here, but they're not, because I'm not getting these nutrients that I need. That person who's carrying that nutrient is absent. So what are we going to do? Well, we're going to break down some muscle fiber, and we're going to try and get it from the proteins that had it in there already to begin with. That's what your body's going to do, and it's going to start devouring your muscle. Okay, so some of the nutrients that I'm talking about that you need, again, are like niacin, that I said was directly involved in ATP production. Then there's potassium, that's involved in neuromuscular function. Then there's also magnesium, which is again directly involved with ATP production. And then there's coenzymes, like coenzyme 10, which is a cofactor involved in the synthesis of ATP. And then there's thiamine, which converts carbs to ATP. So if you don't have enough thiamine, then you really are starving. The factory's definitely going to shut down, okay? And then there's also folate, which is different from folic acid, which folic acid is something that's synthetic, that's put back into foods or in supplements. But a lot of times folic acid has been found to accumulate in the bloodstream and cause other disastrous things. So basically, when I say that you need folate, I'm talking about getting it from sources of food, okay? And then also there's iron. Now, this isn't a complete list by any stretch of the means. Like, for instance, iron carries oxygen in cells to your body, but then there's a host of other vitamins that your body needs. So what I'm trying to drive home here is that you can be starving your body of these nutrients, and that's a starvation state. Okay, it's not like, oh, um, I'm gonna eat certain kinds of foods so that I can make ketone bodies, because that's a different kind of starvation. You're starving your body of just carbohydrates. Okay, but when you are on a diet where you're starving yourself for long stretches and periods of times and cutting calories down severely low, then you are not getting these types of nutrients in your body. So your body's metabolism is going to come to a halt. And then, but before it does that, it's going to start pulling energy from proteins, okay? And then you're in trouble, because once you start breaking down muscle fiber, then you are not rebuilding muscle, and you're because the process of building muscle is using a lot of energy, and it increases your metabolism. And to build muscle, you still need all of these nutrients. So your body, you want to keep it going. It's like a clock. You want to keep it in time. But if it starts to slow down, and then there's all these workers not showing up for work in terms of like the vitamins and stuff, then your body's going to start holding on to all of its fat stores, and it's also going to start trying to find those nutrients where in spots where they are already placed, like inside of amino acids and proteins. So then once your muscle starts to waste away, then you're in trouble because your muscles require um, the clock to keep going, or the wheel to keep turning, because your muscles need maintenance, and so to keep them going. So if you are starving your body of these nutrients, then everything's going to slow down, your muscles going to waste away, and you're not going to lose any fat because your body doesn't prefer fat at that moment. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to stay in this fat burning zone, and the way to do that is by two different things. The first thing that you want to do is you want to get these nutrients in your body. Secondly, you want to exercise and do some strength training exercises that are going to build muscle. Instead of losing muscle, you want to build muscle. Now, do you want to build a lot of muscle? Like if you're a guy, maybe you do. If you're a female, maybe you want some lean muscle, and you don't have to go, all crazy and lift, really, really heavy weights, but you can lift some lower, um, weight, some some lighter weights is really what I'm trying to say. Some lighter weights with more repetition, and that's going to make some lean muscle on your body, and then you're going to like the way you look in that sense. Now, if you want to build big muscles, then you lift heavier weights, and then your body may be more sore if you're doing something to that nature, and it may be a little harder to work your way up, and you might get a little bit bigger, but make no mistake, that is muscle, it's not fat, and you may be larger, but you are healthier, you're looking better, if that's the way you want to look. Or if you have lean muscle, it's at least better to have lean muscle than no muscle at all and be skinny fat. Okay, so if the opposite of that is sometimes people starve themselves and they do a bunch of cardio. And so the cardio, they're thinking, I'm burning calories, I'm burning calories, I'm burning calories. But again, if you're in this nutrition starving state, which, there's actually a term for this state, which is called a marginal micronutrient deficiency. So basically, you don't have to think, oh, okay, well, I don't have scurvy or beriberi, and I don't have, some kind of other thing like pellagra or all these things where you think, oh, I have like a real vitamin deficiency. You can have a somewhat vitamin deficiency, which is called this marginal micronutrient deficiency, that is going to, again, starve your body of certain nutrients, and it's going to stop AT production in the factory, the mitochondrial factory, and then your metabolism is going to halt, and you're going to keep storing and conserving fat. So, what you want to do is make sure that you get enough vitamins and everything staying inside your body. And that goes back to the cardio, because the cardio, you're burning and you're burning and you're burning calories. But if you're also in this starvation state, guess what the cardio is doing? It is going to break down protein and amino acids in muscle fibers. Okay, so you might be actually getting a little bit skinnier and everything, but once you're done with the workout, it's over and your metabolism is stopping, and you might even actually rebound and like want a bunch of food because you're in this starvation state. So all that cardio you just did, an hour and a half of it or whatever, and you thought, oh, this is great, and then suddenly you're like, oh my god, I'm starving, I want everything I can find, I want some protein bars, I want some crackers, something with bread, I want some carbs. And then if you're thinking, oh, okay, well, I can't have that because now I'm on this ketone diet or keto diet, then the only thing I can have is this is protein and broccoli or something, and you're thinking, oh, I just can't be satisfied with that, especially not fast enough. And that's another reason, because you don't have glucose in your body, so it takes a long time to break down proteins, and it takes time to break down some of the other more cruciferous vegetables and stuff. So you're not getting that quick fix after that exercise. So basically what you've done is you've starved your body, then you've gone and done all this exercise, and then you go try and eat it back, or either you're so angry and hungry and depressed and food craving and all this other stuff that you don't even feel good because you've crashed right after this long exercise. So basically, what you want to do is you want to make sure you're eating and doing some cardio and some weight training, some lifting, something like that to help build muscle. So then, when your workout is done, you're not as hungry because you don't want to overwork yourself. You're not as hungry. You go eat the right foods. You put the nutrients back into your body, and then you get some good sleep, and you go about it, and you're burning fat because now your muscles, as you're sleeping, are repairing themselves, and your metabolism is just going and going and going and going and going. So you're doing good when you do that. Okay, now this third thing that most people don't think about, and this is why I love to talk about spices and herbs and stuff like that, is that your body will actually hold on to some fat because your body has a lot of toxins in there. Okay, so what I'm like a big champion proponent for detoxification. Some people think that it's not a thing and that it doesn't really help, but that is so not true because what you are doing on the detox that I'm talking about is putting these nutrients back into your body. And what are these nutrients going to do? Okay, well, first let's quickly talk about some of the toxins that I'm talking about. All right, so like there's these ones called persistent organic pollutants. There's also obesogens. There's also endocrine disruptors. There's also heavy metals. There's also growth hormones. All of the stuff that's in your food, that's in the environment. Where does your body store these toxins? Okay, it stores them in fat. Your body will actually make more fat cells just to store this stuff into. Where does this stuff come from? Again, I said from, pollutants in the air, but a lot of it comes from the foods you're eating. So if you're eating a lot of proteins, you're drinking a lot of milk, eating a lot of cheese, doing all this stuff that has these growth hormones in it, or if you're eating processed foods, which I hope you're not, because, that you got to solve that problem before we can even talk about any of this. Okay, because the processed foods, they have trans fats in them, they have all kinds of chemicals added, food colorings, dyes, um, even pesticides and stuff like that are in there, or you have some oils that have been refined and changed, and they're just not good for your body. So if you're having these processed foods, all of the stuff, that the garbage that's coming from out of there, if it doesn't come out of your digestive tract, and not all of it can because your poor liver, it's like suffering and it can't get everything out, then you need to do a detox to start getting your liver working properly, to flush out all of the stuff that's in your liver first so that your liver can more properly flush out all the toxins that are in the fat, because the fat is there as a cushion around these toxins, because you just don't want to start um, you know losing all this fat and then having all these toxins released. You have to do, because then you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel foggy, there's things that are going to go wrong. So you want to start losing weight by doing a really good detox, and the detox can be something really healthy. It doesn't have to be some fad thing. That's why I've come up with the Egyptian Smoothie Detox Slim Down program. It's on the internet, it's been up for a while. The reason I'm giving you these videos is that so you can learn about it and look it up and start on the program, so that you can start kickstarting your health and start this factory going again. Get your mitochondria working, get that factory going, get your metabolism going, so that you can actually start really burning the fat that you just never thought you would be able to lose. Because I can guarantee you, if you've hit a plateau, a lot of that has to do with the fact that your body is being starved of these nutrients. And when you start putting them back in there, your skin is going to start to glow. Things are going to work, that you never thought would work. You'll have more energy. When you take nutrients in, you get more energy. Your skin, like I said, gets better. It's anti-aging. People always ask me, how is it that you're, 45 years old and you still look young? And I'm like, because I got on board with this a long time ago. I got on board with having certain spices, and then I searched the world. I went out into the world and to Egypt, and I found spices that are just phenomenal, like that have been around for so long, but people dismiss them for drugs that I see when they come to the pharmacy. It's all about drugs, drugs. Don't get me wrong, a lot of drugs can save your life, but at the same time, a lot of things that are out there that are natural can prevent a lot of the things that um, develop in your body over time just from, ignoring the things that are out there that can actually help you, or just being unaware of the things that can help you. Like, for instance, in the Egyptian smoothies, I have stuff like spirulina powder. Now, this is anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, antiviral. It's also high in fiber, and it also flushes out your liver, and it really will jumpstart weight loss. So it's great for things like that. Then there's also turmeric, and that which is such an ancient Egyptian spice. It dates back so far, and they used it all the time. And Egyptians were really into beauty and longevity, and that's really where we're at too. And we have so many things at our disposal these days, but we forget about the things that have been there for a very long time. Modern science is wonderful when it comes to, new therapies and things like that. But in the meantime, until some of this really newer technology comes out that's really going to, create some longevity, real solid longevity in our lives. Let's try making sure that in the meantime we keep ourselves as fit and as healthy as possible. So that's why I want you to, click away from here. After you do, go check out my website, egyptiansmoothie.com. See what the program is all about, and really see if you can dedicate yourself to actually kickstarting into losing this weight. And I hope this video has been highly instructional for you. And if it has been, please subscribe to my channel, because I really want to get more people out there and more interested in finally, getting their health under control, because we need people out there. We need people with their brain power going, okay, so that we can solve some of these bigger problems. And I want you to be healthy, and I want you to be one of those people, okay? So thank you, and I appreciate it, and have a good day.